Hey, this is Todd, the Cybertruck truck guy, and I thought I would start this video on the 5 reasons I decided to put my deposit down, or order down for the Cybertruck. Thought I would start it while I'm driving away from the gas station. So I'm in my 2018 Tacoma. This is my personal truck, but I use it for work, and basically I'm just wanting to do some videos from a truck person's perspective on their thoughts about why they're ordering the Cybertruck and other ideas. So I figured my first one I should do is, why did I actually decide to buy it? So I've got 5 reasons, and I'm gonna pull over here so I'm not trying to drive and talk at the same time. So my first reason is durability. So if I can figure out how to do it, I'm gonna insert some pictures in here of my Tacoma. But I have here we go, seatbelt is getting angry. So in just the 18 months or so that I've owned my Tacoma, I have managed to do a number of things to mess with the exterior. So I've ripped off my side mirror. It's currently being held on with Gorilla Tape, which works really well. I've got some punctures in my front bumper. Both of those I sustained while I was doing some off-roading out in Colorado. And then I have some wear marks because I made a mistake when I was had some materials tarped down, and the plastic from the bungee cords actually scraped away some of the paint on my bed. The point of that is that before this truck got an F-250 that was equally scarred, because I use my truck to do things. I'm going to take my glasses off because of the glare here. So I use my truck to do things that regular people don't do with their passenger vehicles. Take it off-roading, I pull trailers, I put stuff in the bed, I tarp things down. There's all these different things that I do that make it susceptible to body damage. And if you're not a truck person and you don't use your truck and kind of what they were intended for, you won't realize how often that's a problem. So the company I work for, we have a fleet of probably 8 or 10 pickups, and I don't think we have a truck that doesn't have some kind of body damage on it. They're very susceptible to getting beat up. The other thing is they're susceptible to corrosion. And even though they're a lot better than the vehicles I grew up with as a kid, if you're in an environment that they use salt on the roads, you're gonna, over time, it's not a problem after 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, but usually about 6 or 7 years in, you start having problems with surface corrosion and even some wear parts corroding out. And obviously a stainless steel exoskeleton that you can hit with a sledgehammer is super appealing to someone like me, who, when they trade in their truck, they either got to spend $1,500 or more to get everything fixed back up, or they have to take the ding of the depreciation that you get from the body damage, and you have to drive around with it all the time. So that exterior durability, or the durability of that stainless steel frame, is really, really amazing. So the second reason are the truck specific specifications, and that would primarily be payload, towing, and clearance. So again, if you're not a truck person, those numbers, they don't really mean a lot to you. But when you use a truck as a truck, those are the 3 things that you find you occasionally are on the edge of maxing out. So if you put a full pallet of something heavy like bricks or concrete or rock or something like that, those pallets are typically somewhere between 2,500 and 3,500 pounds, and they really will stress out even a regular half-ton pickup. Most of the half tons, my wife has a half-ton Tundra That's rated for, I think, 15 or 1800 pounds payload. And I think the Ford F-150s are rated more for like 2,500 pounds. So it's right at the edge. The Tesla is 3,500 pounds. That's 35% more. But more importantly, I can put a pallet of stuff in the back and I won't have real bad sag. Now, obviously, my Tacoma, I have like 800 or 1,000 pounds on this. So towing. For the mid-range one, 10,000. For the 3-motor, 14,000. So I would say it's not just the towing, but it's also the torque. The torque numbers are better than a diesel. So again, if you're not a truck person, that doesn't mean anything to you. But if you've ever had to try and lug around a heavy load, a skid steer, or a full like dump trailer full of gravel or rock, and you're at the edge of what you can pull with a gas engine and say even a 3/4 ton, it's unpleasant. You really have to rev up the RPMs. It doesn't feel, even though technically it can do it, it doesn't feel good. You have a hard time, like if you want to accelerate or pass or have any kind of an incline, it's unpleasant when you're out that 10, 12,000 pound range. So my guess is that actually the Tesla can pull more. It's that the suspension can't have more weight on the back of it. So that is a really, really great feature. It's almost like you're getting diesel truck level pulling power with a half ton, which they only just now started putting diesels in half tons. That's an amazing value. So again, you're going to sacrifice on range if you're towing something around like that. So it's not going to be great if you're towing something a long range. That's up there. But if you're just towing a camper or a boat or something, I think it's going to be a much more pleasant experience than a regular half-ton truck that has a gas engine, just because of the torque. So the last thing is clearance. Again, best regular truck right now that I know of is the Raptor, which has about 12 inches of clearance. I'm in a Tacoma. This is pretty good off-road. I think it has something like 10 and a half inches of clearance. So the fact that the Cybertruck is going to have 16 inches makes it, it should make it very, very good off-road vehicle for its size. It's a big truck. It's similar to a Raptor, so it's not going to be as nimble as a Jeep or a Tacoma. But in terms of obstacle clearance, it should be like in a league of its own. So I'm going to be real curious to see, once I get it, once other people that do off-roading get it, what it can do. So number 3 is fuel. So now they haven't come out with any specifications on what the MPG equivalents are going to be, but I'm taking it that all the other vehicles are about 3 times better in terms of what you spend for electricity versus what you spend for gas. So I was looking at the Model S and the Model 3s, and they have like a MPG equivalent of something between 100 and 130 miles per gallon. So that's about, most of those cars are in the mid 30 range that they're kind of competing against. So that sort of mid-size sedan. And so I'm thinking, in my world, it's going to be something similar in trucks. It's going to be a 3x improvement. So it's going to be, I'm hoping, somewhere between 30 and 40 mpge, maybe up to 45 or 50. So that is huge. In truck world, our relationship with fuel tends to be very different than regular people's relationship with fuel. In fact, if I went and got a picture of my wife's truck right now, you would see that she has a 200-gallon diesel tank in the back of her truck for fueling our heavy equipment. We don't spend 30 or 40 or $50 a week in fuel. We spend, hundreds of dollars a week between our fuel and the fuel of our fleet. So I think our fleet fuel bill for all of our gas trucks runs somewhere between $10,000 and $15,000 a month. I think that our management team's fuel bills for just their trucks that we pay for is somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,500 or $4,500 a month. My fuel bill personally is something like, and this is a Tacoma, so I have a small truck. I get about 19 miles per gallon, and I probably spend $50 to $75 a week in fuel. And that's partly because, at least in my world, truck people are in their trucks kind of all day long. So when they're not using them, they're sitting in them like I am right now, idling. This is very common. We work out of our trucks. We're moving things with our trucks. We go through a lot of fuel. And so two things that I'm looking forward to is, number one, spending less on fuel, but number two, having a full tank every morning. It's not at all uncommon when we're in high production mode for our managers to have to fuel their truck every day, every other day. So it's a lot of money, and so I think that's gonna be a huge deal. So number 4 is adventure features. So I use my truck to camp off-road, to go off-roading, and there are some trade-offs that I have to make using my Tacoma. So I do a lot of tent camping, and so I have thought about actually camping in the bed of my truck, but there's some problems with that, and I'd have to get a tent for it that fits in the bed, which isn't that big of a deal. But one of the problems is that I don't have a generator, and so I can't run certain things that run off electric when I'm off grid unless I get a generator, but then I have to have a gas can and all this other stuff. So having the battery capacity and the outlets to actually be able to, I could actually run an air conditioner in the back of my bed. That's a big deal. The adaptive air suspension, if you've never camped on a slope, you don't understand how amazing it would be to actually level out your bed so you're sleeping on a flat surface, elevated on a flat surface, and with air conditioning. It's almost a camper. Those are all things I'd have to spend extra money to get. I know there's probably, you can run the AC off the vehicle itself, but I'm not sure how that would actually get into the bed. I'm not thinking that's going to work real well for AC. But I could run an AC easily off of the battery on either the 2-motor or the 3-motor. So I did put a reservation in for the 3-motor one. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So the adaptive air suspension, that's a big deal for a couple of reasons. So the first is to get the clearance. The second thing is one of the things I do is I ride adventure motorcycles off pavement. So I have to load my motorcycle into the back of my truck, and I have a pretty big motorcycle. I have a Honda Africa Twin, and it weighs about 600 pounds. It's scary putting that in the back of a truck. I actually never load it by myself. I always have someone there because the steepness of the ramp to get up there, and then how high I'm up when I'm actually on the back of a 1/2-ton or 3/4-ton truck with my motorcycle. I can't put it on my, I don't have, I can't, the payload of the Tacoma isn't enough. So when I do that, I take my wife's Tundra. And it's a scary experience. The ability to actually lower the bed with air and then have the integrated ramp, loading would be way easier. Again, these are things non-truck people, non-adventure people, they don't think about. It's a brilliant design, literally brilliant. Right now, I have to carry my ramp with me. It takes up a bunch of space, and the only thing I use it for is loading and unloading my motorcycle. Other than that, it's a total waste. To have an integrated ramp that it would just slide out and always be there, it's brilliant. There's so many things about this design that are brilliant if you're a truck person that non-truck people don't understand. They don't get. I am amazed at the features they put in, which I'm going to do another video about all the things that are included that would be extra with a regular 1/2-ton truck. That's a different video. So yeah, power outlets, adaptive air, and integrated ramp, what I'm calling the adventure features, are huge. So the last thing, point number 5, is what I'm calling the badass factor. Look, unless you just own a truck to literally do a job, and that's all it is. You're a plumber and it's a plumbing truck and it has a company name on it and it's just a pure work truck. if you have a truck that you is your personal / work vehicle, part of what you like about trucks is just, I'll call it the badass factor. You call it whatever you want. It's nice. Now I've had to adjust a little bit. Tacoma is a little bit lower, but I used to have an F-250 that was lifted, and you feel powerful. You're up high. You gun the engine. It's got this real deep growl. You can pull things around. You can load it up. You can travel in areas there have been times that I've needed to get over some very bad obstacles, and I can just go right over the top of it with my truck. No car can do it. There's a sense of there's a trade-off, and if you can afford it, there's a little bit you want your truck to be a badass truck, and whether that it's the horsepower or the luxury features or whatever it is, there's just a dynamic. I don't know anybody that has anything above just a base level truck that isn't looking like, how do I make my truck a little more badass? A rack, lighting system, elevating it, all the things. There's so much money. That's another thing. People don't even know about aftermarket. You don't do much with cars on the aftermarket, but in trucks, it's huge. It's a huge thing that people do to upgrade their truck, to make it more capable, but also, you just want it to be a badass truck. And so I think the badass factor of the Cybertruck is in epic territory, especially with the 3-motor, but even the 2-motor one. Its design, yeah, I know it's weird. I get it. But people are going to notice you. The fact that that it rides so high, you're going to get noticed. The stainless steel, I know some people have already talked about different colors. That's fine. I love the stainless steel. I love the Blade Runner look. I think it looks absolutely badass. Now, I understand it can also be ugly, but I would just say that I would say there's a bunch of other things. I think Jeeps, we don't think about them now, but they're kind of ugly. They are ugly if you just purely look at them as a aesthetic. The way the people that really like the Tesla Model S and the Sportster, the way they look at things like the Cybertruck, I understand why they go, it's ugly. But it can be ugly and a badass at the same time, is my point. There's a certain beauty in just the performance characteristics of your truck. How high it rides, how fast it goes, how it looks, how it performs, the terrain it can go through, all that stuff. And I would say it's an amazing badass canvas. I bet it's going to be one of the most aftermarket upgraded vehicles ever. I mean, it's just going to be insane. And so I think it's got a very high badass factor. Now, for $70,000, you can do 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. As a truck person, I never dreamed that would even be possible. I haven't test driven any of the other Teslas because I'm a truck guy. And I didn't want to experience what that was like to accelerate like that and then go, well, it's nice, but I can't. It's a car, and I'm not going to have a car. Now, I get to be a part of that. I guarantee you, I am in the middle of America in truck world. I'll bet 1 out of every 6 vehicles is trucks where I'm at. And I guarantee you that there's going to be one wave of people that are on the front end like me that have been, paying more attention to it and have gotten deeper into it than a lot of just regular truck guys. But I guarantee you the first time I get my buddies that own trucks in that seat and I go from 0 to 61.9 seconds, it's going to be another world. I mean, and I haven't even done it myself, but I am going to go test drive a Tesla now, even though I have an order in for a Cybertruck, just so I can see what that feels like, because I can join. And I also think we're going to see some pretty epic off-road stuff that it can do. The one concern I have about off-road is water crossings. I just don't know how all that works. So that's a question I have. I have some concerns then I'm going to do another video on my concerns. Like, what are my concerns about the Cybertruck as a truck guy? But that's it. Those are my reasons: durability, truck specifications, MPG equivalent or fuel, adventure features, and the badass factor. So those are my 5 reasons why I put my reservation in. So hope you enjoyed the video.